welcome back to Let's Play Dwarf Fortress. After last game session ended, I have designed huge area for the dwarves to mine. In here will be the entrance to our base. Then, actually I probably need to mine this one too so that the caravans can get in. Well, anyway, in here will be the entrance to the base. We have both staircase and way for the trader caravans. And the caravans come in. Here we will have trade depot in the middle. Then we have an entrance to the base. And this level in here will be mostly workshops and finished goods stockpiles. In here we will have barracks for our soldiers. One level above we will have raw goods, like for example stone, metal ores, wood, that kind of stuff. One level above that is the first living quarters. We have space for 90 dwarves in here. Above that, second set of living quarters, another 90 dwarves can live in here. So a total of 180 dwarves can live in these living quarters. When we go back here, we can then check what's below. On level 35, we have lots of interesting stuff. We will have a dining hall where dwarves can eat. Then we will have a room where we will have the kitchens, still, and food storage. Then up here, we are going to have a hospital for the dwarves. In the right in here, we are going to have guilds and grand guilds, and of course temples and grand temples. And in here we are going to have like space for the dead dwarves. So we are going to have coffins in these spaces. And when we go even level below, we are going to have space for the administrators, like the mayor, manager, baron, that kind of people. And below the hospital, we are going to have a well. This is the way where the well water is going out. And when this has been carved, I will actually then make the way for the water to come in. Behind the barracks, we have some interesting spaces designed. Like behind the barracks, we have a way which goes all the way back out to the surface. So here will be this back way into the base, which will be open and which will allow the attackers to get into the base, even if they close the main doors of the base. But the attackers will go in through here. The AI will detect that there is way into the base. They will go down, and they will see this totally nonsense way to the river. And here will be grates, which prevent them to walk to the river. They go even lower down, and in this area, we are going to have huge number of traps. Like, I'm thinking like 30 traps or something like that. And when the attackers are killed by the traps, we can let water come from the river and flush this area so that all of the blood and nasty bits are flushed away. And the water goes down here, and in here we are going to have another set of wall grates. And the wall grates will gather all of the loot that we get from the dead enemies. And below that, we are going to have way all the way to the edge of the map. And at the edge of the map, we will smooth the stone and carve some fortifications to the stone. And those fortifications will allow the water to flow off the map. So the water will go to the edge of the map and then disappear. And it's the same also with the water in the well. Also in that case, water will flow to the edge of the map and then disappear. So that's my plan on how to make this base. And of course, this is huge amount of mining. The space that we are going to mine is totally vast. It's extremely huge. And to do that, we actually have 5 miners. One is our main miner, who's proficient miner, and the rest of the people are basically just normal people who have been given like mining picks to do the mining. Actually, I made a mistake with this one. I'm supposed to do it this way. Okay, yeah. In addition to the 5 miners, we have one person who's cutting down trees, and then our ranger is going to hunt and going to fish. And in here, first thing that we need to do is that we need to decide just a couple of trees to be cut down. Not that many, just a few. But we need some wood to start making workshops. Like for example, butcher, which allows our hunter to hunt animals and then butcher the animals. And then I will make pasture. I will make pasture for some of the animals which we have. I will make mean pasture, and I will put our 2 yaks to the pasture. Yes. And yeah, rest of the stuff we can do when some of the trees have been cut down. I also kind of feel that we probably need to create a bridge over the river at some point, because the river has 7 depth water, which is drowning depth. So it's possible that our dwarves are not able to swim over the river. So at some point we are going to need to make a bridge over the river. But that can also wait. So I guess that I have done all that I need to do. Let's just allow the dwarves to start working. Yes, let's do that. I check what they are doing. Actually, yeah. I think that everyone is doing something useful, except like the one miner who is fishing for some reason. Let's see. Yes, when we get just a couple of trees cut down, then we can start building the workshops. But I think that our wood cutting guy is putting the animals to the pasture. And now he starts to cut down some of the trees. Yes. Okay. we can put down first workshops. We need fishery in here. And let's see, where was our pasture? Pasture in here. So let's make butcher like in here. Those are the first important workshops that we need to have. And with the butcher, our hunter can butcher any animals that they manage to hunt. So let's give them some time to start doing something about that. I hope that our woodcutter guy is going to be building those workshops when he has first managed to cut down all of the trees. But it takes some time to cut down the trees. Because I think that the ranger is, let's see what they are doing. The ranger is fishing actually. Okay. Yeah. I hope that at least someone makes the workshops quite soon. Because also the fishing is kind of useless if you don't have a workshop where you can process the fish. You need to gut the fish and just take the good parts which you can eat. Okay. I think that the trees have been cut. So we can start making the workshops. Let's see. Yes, we have working fishery where actually our ranger is going to prepare some of the fish that he has managed to catch. Let's see. At this point, we probably also need some other workshops. We need to get carpenter's workshop. Let's put it in here. And let's see what else we need actually. Yeah. We also need, is the farming? Yes, it's on farming. We need the steel in here. Because I think that we will be okay with food as we have the ranger who finds stuff and also fishes stuff. So we'll probably have food with food. But we need to have more alcohol. So, yeah. So that's it, I guess. Actually, we also need something else. We need garbage dump. And it can be just one tile. Except pour it down. And that's it. So, when in the fishery, for example, we get some reject stuff, we can put it in the dump. Actually, I'll make another garbage dump in here. I'll name this also down. So, in the butcher shop, when you get some parts which are not useful, they will put those in the dump. And let's see what else we actually need. Here. Yeah, in here you can see that we have cut down way in sand, which is less than ideal, because sand has tendency of collapsing if you have too large area cut into the sand. But we can do something about it later. Yeah. And luckily, when you go below that, you start to get actual solid rock. And I think that where we have our base, we probably will have like actual rock. Yeah. Okay, let's give them some time to do something. And our hunter is still fishing. The woodcutter is making these. He's making all of these workshops. And now in here, we have to make a couple of wooden barrels. Maybe 10. And we hope that the woodcutter guy is going to make all of these barrels. He don't have any skill to do that. But we hope that he does that anyway. So let's give them some time to do that. It will take some time to make the barrels because the guy really doesn't have any skill in that and doesn't really know what they are doing. But let's make the 10 barrels. And when we have the barrels, at that point, we can start gathering some of the plants. And when we have the plants and the barrels, we can go to the still and start making alcohol. Because I don't think that we are going to run out of food as we have the ranger gathering food like fishing and hunting. And also, if we would run out of food, I think that the dwarves can survive alive like half a year without food, something like that. But running out of alcohol is much more difficult thing. Because the dwarves basically go mad if they run out of alcohol. So we have to do something about the alcohol situation. So yeah, let's design some area to gather the plants. Let's just gather some plants. That's enough for now. I can see he went to process some fish and then return to make some more barrels. And in here, I think that the process of carving the base from stone will take a long time. My best guess is that it will take something like 1 year. And during that 1 year, I think that we probably are not going to get many new dwarves to the base. Because wealth attracts new people to come to our base. And when we are basically only carving the base out of stone, we are not really creating any value. And without value, we don't get new people to the base. Yeah. Now the next thing will be that we are waiting for the guy to start gathering all of the plants. He doesn't have any skill to that either, but he just has to do it. Yeah, he is going to gather a lot of plants, and when we have the plants, we can start making alcohol. But this is going to be kind of long process. Yeah. I hope that someone will process the fishes like the brook lamprey in the fishery. But we have so few people doing anything else except mining that, yeah, it takes time for the stuff to happen. And let me mention that the ranger, let's see the ranger. The ranger has 2 hunting dogs assigned to him. So the hunting dogs will help when he actually starts to hunt some animals. The hunting dogs do basically 2 things. They increase his stealth so he can get closer to the prey. And another thing is that the hunting dogs increase his observation, which means that it's more likely that he detects any hidden things like goblin thieves or anything like that. And he has fished quite a lot of fish, so I guess that it would be time for someone to start processing those, but yeah, because the fish is going to go bad if no one is processing it. But I guess that I queued so many plants to be gathered that our only actual worker who does anything else except hunt or line. Our only worker is so overworked that he doesn't have that. Okay, now he started processing the fishes. Okay, nice. Nice. He's gathering even more plants while the other guy is still fishing. Yeah, I think that our food situation is okay at this moment. So no problems there. We could actually also make kitchen. Why not? Let's make kitchen in here. So that at some point we can also process the plants that we have to meals. Yeah. Our only general worker is now sleeping, I think. Yeah. And we don't really have any beds or any bedrooms at this moment. So people just have to sleep on the ground outside. That's just how things go. And sleeping outside makes people unhappy, especially if it's raining. But the dwarves just have to deal with that. And I think that the dwarves are generally quite happy at this point. So it shouldn't be a problem. It's brew drink from plant. I think we can do that. And we have the order to brew drink from plants repeating indefinitely, which practically means that the guy is going to fill 10 barrels with alcohol, and then he runs out of barrels. But we'll have much more drink when this has been done. So it helps that we don't run out of alcohol. I think that 1 barrel contains 20 units of alcohol. So 10 barrels should be something like 200 units of drink. So even 10 barrels is plenty, I feel. Yes, let's queue making more barrels. Because we can't make more alcohol and more food without the barrels. Yeah. Let's see what the people are doing. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Our food factory guy is going to make food in barrels. While the other guy is still fishing, I think. And there would be lots of fish to process if someone would just do that. But let's see how it goes. I think that I'm going to cancel making the alcohol so that someone can start processing the fishes. And with all of that fish, we probably are going to have lots of food. It's better if it's cooked and not eaten raw. Although I think that the dwarves can also eat raw fish. They are just not as happy if they have to eat raw. And I think that we are going to get some thieves and some kidnappers in the first couple of years. That's something that I feel is going to happen. But those probably are not that difficult enemies. And our difficulty in the game is like normal, which I think means that the first, like real attack against the fortress will happen when we have 20 or more dwarves. So in the first couple of years, there shouldn't be anything too difficult happening. Okay, he's processing the fish. And then actually going to pick some more plants. Yep. I will queue pick their fine meal so that they can make just a couple of fine meals at some point. And our ranger is just fishing. There seems to be lots of fish in the river. Yeah. And at the same time, the other people are mining. We get some zircons, at least some gems, and some quartzite stone. So yeah. And we have actually found some hematite. So we have a source of iron in here, which is good news. Because we need some iron to make like metal stuff. But yeah, the dwarves are very busy. They're going to be very, very busy in the first couple of years. Yeah. I guess that's it for the first episode. I will let the game run for a while before I start recording the next episode, because not much is going to be happening in the first couple of months. So I'll come back when something happens or when the base is closer to be finished.